Hi, listeners, this is Jake, with a quick bonus between our normally scheduled episodes, so I can tell you a little bit about a change to my personal life and what it might mean for the show. On March 17th, 2023, I'm going to be leaving the company where I've been working since 2005. In a way, it's appropriate. The 17th is Evacuation Day, and I'll be evacuating the job that I've had for over 17 years. It's exciting, but it's also very frightening to face the idea of being the new guy at a job for the first time in a very long time. I rarely mention it on the show, but my day job's in healthcare IT. For many years, I've been on the software side, working for a company that makes electronic health record systems for hospitals. Starting this month, I'm really stepping into a new role, and I'll be working at one of the large academic medical centers in Boston. It's a huge change for me. I'll be managing a much larger team than I have now and taking on a couple of very big projects with very tight timelines. At the same time, my commute is going to at least double, and after my broken ankle's recovered enough to manage it, I'm going to start taking the train again for the first time in a very long time. Speaking of my broken ankle, I've been cleared to start physical therapy a little bit early, which is great. It means that hopefully I'll be able to get back to walking a little sooner than I planned. Unfortunately, it also means that I'll be using 2 evenings or weekend days for PT that I could otherwise spend working on the podcast. Add to that my aging dog, and it's like a conspiracy to keep me from having time for the show. Senior podcast producer Duke is 14 years old now, and he's been having a lot of mobility issues lately. He still has plenty of good days in front of him, but I'm not sure for how much longer, so I want to make a point of spending as much time with him as possible. It's a lot of change happening all at the same time, and I'm not quite sure how I'll be able to keep the Hub History podcast going in exactly the same form. I love producing this show. It's the most rewarding project that I've ever taken on, and I'm still amazed that we've managed to keep it going for over 6 years. And it's mind-blowing that it's won 2 awards. Not knowing if I'd be able to keep making the podcast made me agonize over whether or not I should accept the new job. For now, I'm going to do my best to keep the show unchanged. I'm working on the script right now for next Sunday's show, and hopefully I'll be able to release another one 2 weeks after that, and you, the listener, will never know the difference. It's possible, though, that it'll be too much work to write a 20-page script and produce an hour-long show every couple of weeks, while also settling into a new job, rehabbing my ankle, and spending quality time with my aging dog. If I start to notice that the production schedule's slipping, I'll pause the Patreon fundraising first, so people aren't paying for a show that doesn't get put out on time. Hopefully any hiccups will be temporary, but I can't rule out larger changes. I'm worried that I won't be able to do this new job in a 40-hour work week, so we'll see what happens. If it seems like I'll be on a schedule that permanently prevents me from making the show in its current format, I'd rather make changes than let the show go entirely. The options I can think of would be to keep the same basic scripted narrative show, but either cut back the length of each episode or release episodes less often. I could also switch from a scripted format to more of an interview show and bring in folks like museum directors and historic interpreters to talk about their work, and occasionally keep bringing in authors with Boston history books. Interviews do still take preparation, but not as much as a narrative episode does. Even if I'm completely unable to keep the show going, I at least have a couple of emergency scripts stored away, so I'll be sure to at least record and release those before I make any decision to shut down the show for good. I'm taking a week off between jobs, and I asked my Twitter followers for suggestions about what I should do in that week, and they had a lot of good ideas. If you have thoughts about whether you'd prefer a shorter show, or a less frequent show, or an interview-based show, get in touch with me in all the usual ways. You can email podcast@hubhistory.com or DM Hub History on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. If you're on Mastodon, you can find me as @hubhistory@better.boston, or just use the contact form on hubhistory.com. That's all for now. Stay safe out there, listeners.